Film opens with a character named Needy, one of the inmates of the prison. She gets in trouble with a prison guard for attacking the guard out of nowhere, and gets thrown in solitary confinement. Needy then begins narrating how she ends up like this, and we get taken to her past. It all starts in a high school scene. Needy is a nerdy, awkward high schooler who is best friends with Jennifer, an incredibly beautiful and popular student there. They've been friends since they were little, and even though everybody else, including Needy's boyfriend Chip, questions why the two remain friends because they don't seem to have anything in common anymore, Needy and Jennifer remain inseparable. They live in a small town called Devil's Kettle that is named after an ominous waterfall, with a swirly hole that nobody knows leads to where. Scientists would come into town to investigate, but still haven't figured out anything to this day. One day, Jennifer walks up to Needy and asks Needy to accompany her to see the live performance of an indie band called Low Shoulder. Jennifer also voices how she finds the lead singer attractive, and would like to make a move on him tonight. Not wanting her best friend to go alone, Needy cancels her plan to spend time with her boyfriend Chip tonight, and agrees to go see the band with Jennifer. Later that night, Chip accompanies Needy as she waits for Jennifer to pick her up to go watch the band. Here we learn that Needy and Jennifer must have some sort of psychic connection, because Needy is randomly able to tell when Jennifer arrives at her house. Chip, who witnesses this, finds it very odd. He then goes downstairs, and watches Jennifer and Needy interact. It is obvious from his reaction that he dislikes Jennifer because of how crass she treats Needy. Not long after, Jennifer and Needy arrive at the pub, where the band Low Shoulders is about to perform. There they pass by their classmate Craig, who, like everybody else in town, adores Jennifer. They also come across Ahmed, a foreign exchange student from India who goes to their school. Up next, Officer Roman, who casually sleeps with Jennifer from time to time, comes up to them and tries hitting on her. However, Jennifer ditches him for Low Shoulders' lead singer, who she immediately walks up to with Needy by her side. Jennifer then bashfully introduces herself to Nikolai, the lead singer, and offers to buy him a drink. When Jennifer goes over to the bar, Needy overhears Nikolai creepily talking to his bandmate about how Jennifer must be a virgin. Realizing Nikolai might be a predator, Needy confronts him and tells him to back off from Jennifer. Needy then tries warning Jennifer about Nikolai, but Jennifer simply brushes it off, and casually remarks about how she is far from being a virgin at this point. The two stop conversing when the band begins to perform. And then somehow, the building sets on fire in the middle of their performance. Oddly enough, the band seems unfazed by this, even as people panically try to make their way out of the building, getting trampled or burnt to death in the process. Needy guides a shaken Jennifer out of the building through a window in the restroom, and tries to calm her down. Shortly after, Nikolai suddenly waltzes over to them, and forces Jennifer to gulp down some whiskey. He then whisks the bewildered-looking Jennifer away, while Needy pleads for Jennifer to stay, but Jennifer naively tells her that she's going to be okay. She panically calls her boyfriend Chip when she gets home that night, and catches him up on the horrific things that she just witnessed, including people getting burnt to death and her best friend climbing into a van with a stranger. Chip, who dislikes Jennifer, tells Needy to not worry about her best friend. Not long after, Needy startles when she hears the doorbell ring, and steps downstairs to answer it, but finds no one outside the door when she does. But when she is about to go back upstairs, she begins hearing rustling noises coming from the kitchen, and moves to turn off a dripping sink. But then, Jennifer stands in front of her covered in blood, with a lewd smile plastered on her face. She then ransacks the fridge, and attempts to eat, but proceeds to throw up tar-looking black goo. Needy rushes to call for help, but all of a sudden, Jennifer pins her to the wall and begins caressing her. Jennifer then moves to bite her neck until she leaves a mark, before she exits the house while police sirens can be heard in the background. On the next day, the school is buzzing with news about how the town's pub burnt to the ground and only several people managed to make it out, while Needy appears to be deep in thought, thinking about what she witnessed last night. Jennifer then casually walks up to her, looking perfectly normal, and disturbingly nonchalant about the fact that people that they knew died in the fire last night. Jennifer even acts like she doesn't remember about how she stormed into Needy's house the other night, and threw up all over the kitchen floor. After class that day, Needy tries telling her boyfriend about the sinister manner of Jennifer's actions last night, but he brushes it off and questions her sanity. On the other side of the school, Jennifer walks up to Craig's best friend, Jonas, who is grieving because Craig died in the fire the other night. Jennifer then convinces him that Craig told her that she and Jonas would look good together, and lures Jonas to follow her into the woods. They end up making out, but oddly enough the animals in the woods begin to gather around them, and proceed to watch them. Jonas then pauses and takes in the sight in wonder, but Jennifer remains unfazed and simply tells him that the animals are waiting for something. And then this happens.
Miss Craig?
Jennifer devilishly devours his flesh, while a teacher can hear Jonas screams helplessly and thinks he's grieving about his best friend Craig. Later that day, Needy is cooking while listening to the radio when she hears that the band that she and Jennifer watched that night, Low Shoulder, has gained a massive amount of followers following the incident, and are even considered as national heroes by the public for allegedly saving people from the burning building. Meanwhile, the high school teacher who's looking for Jonas comes across his mangled dead body in the woods. Afterwards, police are immediately summoned to the scene, while Jennifer can be seen swimming naked in a lake nearby, looking fully relaxed and content. That night, Jennifer calls her best friend Needy to inform her that she's feeling amazing right now, and Needy should stop grieving for the people who died in the fire because people die all the time. While on the call, Jennifer does this creepy thing. Needy eventually has to hang up because her boyfriend is calling her. During the call, he tells her that Jonas, who happens to be his neighbor, is dead. Hearing this, she rushes to see him and comfort him, and during this time Chip elaborates how apparently, Jonas' body was found completely ripped apart in the woods. The following days, the entire town is grieving due to the many lives they lost in such a short time, except for Jennifer, who seems to be thriving more than ever. The news about the recent incidents that took place in the town make it to national news, and the band Low Shoulder seems to be gaining more and more recognition and fame. Regardless, the town folks try to move on with their lives. A month later, Jennifer appears to look pale and unwell during class. After the class ends, a guy named Colin walks up to them, and shyly asks Jennifer out, but she coldly tells him off. Needy, however, voices that she thinks Colin is cool and kind, which prompts Jennifer to change her mind, and invites him over to her place tonight. Needy's boyfriend Chip then shows up, and Needy protectively kisses him because she's scared that Jennifer might flirt with him. That night, Needy and Chip decide to have sex for the first time, while at the same time, the sweet Colin drives up to the address Jennifer texted him. Oddly, he arrives in front of an empty house. Curious, he climbs in anyway. He finds Jennifer on the second floor, creepily staring at him. At this moment, Colin realizes right then that this isn't Jennifer's actual house. Jennifer then begins to seduce him, but at some point, this happens. Colin gets scared, and she proceeds to twist his arm, injuring him. Just like what she did to Jonas, she mauls him and eats his flesh. At the same time, Needy sees a strange vision of the ceiling bleeding, and a zombie-looking Jonas and Jennifer being on the other side of the room. Needy freaks out, gets dressed, and drives away from Chip's house. But on the way, she sees Jennifer and swerves her car away upon seeing her. She then stops driving for a moment, but a feral-looking Jennifer lands on top of the windshield, scaring Needy and making her drive away in panic. Needy returns home and begins to cry, extremely scared and questioning her reality. Once she calms down, she returns to her bedroom to sleep, but finds Jennifer there, looking calm and chipper. She tenderly kisses Needy and the two end up making out for a while, until Needy pulls away and demands Jennifer to explain what's going on. This is when Jennifer casually tells her what happened that night, after she climbed into Low Shoulder's van. Realizing that the van was driving into the woods, Jennifer started to get scared. Afraid that they might force their way with her, she tried to convince the band that she's a virgin, and that she knew absolutely nothing about sex. The van then stopped in the middle of the woods, and the bandmates forcibly dragged her by the infamous waterfall, and tied her up as they prepared to commence a satanic ritual that supposedly would make them famous. Nikolai, the lead singer, proceeds to read a satanic mantra, before stabbing her on the chest with a sharp blade, which killed her. Nikolai then dumped the blade into the swirly hole to get rid of the evidence. In the present, Jennifer proceeds to tell Needy that she doesn't remember much about what happened after, except for the fact that she came back to life, and found herself walking towards Needy's house. She also felt a craving for human flesh, but she couldn't bring herself to kill Needy because she loves her, so she decided to run away. At some point during that night, Jennifer came across Ahmed, the foreign exchange student who also survived the fire, and ended up killing and eating him instead. She also explains that when she is full, she is invincible. She proves this by cutting herself, and showing how the wound instantly heals. On the contrary, she gets very weak when she is hungry. Needy, who is overwhelmed by all this information, tells Jennifer to go, and Jennifer reluctantly makes her way out through the window. On the next day, Needy attends Colin's funeral, and silently realizes that she saw Jennifer covered in blood last night because she just killed Colin. Needy heads to the library later that day, and for days to come, she spends her time in the library researching about demons and the occult, trying to find some sort of explanation regarding what Jennifer has become. She tries to present her findings to her boyfriend Chip, claiming that according to the books, one may perform a ritual to achieve fame by sacrificing a virgin, but when the sacrificed is not a virgin, the ritual performer would still obtain fame, but the sacrificed would come back to life with a demon's soul stuck inside her, and she would be forced to consume human flesh to stay alive. Chip, however, finds all this crazy and still doesn't believe her. The school dance is coming up, and Needy tries to convince Chip not to go for safety reasons, but he still insists on going. Alas, Needy has no choice but to attend as well. The day of the dance finally arrives, and before Chip leaves for the night, his mother hands him some pepper spray to protect himself. Right around this time, we see Jennifer looking all pale again, signifying that she must be starving. Needy arrives at the dance first and waits for Chip to get there, while on the other side of the story, we see Chip walking alone right when Jennifer suspiciously walks up to him. Jennifer begins spouting lies about how Needy used to cheat on him with Colin, and so Chip needs to come with Jennifer now, so they can hook up to get back at Needy. At the school dance, as it turns out, Low Shoulder is making an appearance. Needy makes a sour look as the band begins to perform. Back to Jennifer, she and Chip are now making out by a tree, and somehow with her random psychic skills, Needy is able to sense that something is going down. Therefore she bolts outside, and somehow instantly knows where to go. Jennifer brings Chip inside an abandoned swimming pool, while Needy dramatically runs to their location with her psychic GPS. Jennifer tries to kiss Chip again, right when Chip changes his mind because he loves Needy too much to cheat on her. Hearing his reluctance, Jennifer throws Chip into the pool, and proceeds to attack him. Just in time, Needy arrives. Seeing her boyfriend in trouble, Needy jumps into the pool, and pulls Jennifer away. Chip then hands her the pepper spray, and Needy proceeds to use it against Jennifer. Furious, Jennifer throws up some black goo and begins to hover over the water, while Needy helps Chip get off the pool. Needy then confronts Jennifer, and proceeds to ask why she has to go after Chip out of anyone, but Jennifer simply deflects and refuses to give a conclusive answer. Jennifer then stomps her way closer, right when Chip stabs her in the gut with a metal bar, before collapsing to the ground. Jennifer looks at Needy with a sullen look, and walks away after taking the metal bar out. After Jennifer leaves, Needy moves to kneel next to Chip, and they confess their love to each other as he bleeds to death. Meanwhile, Jennifer returns home, looking pale, weak, and broken-hearted if anything. This is when Needy suddenly breaks in through the window, and proceeds to attack her for killing Chip. Jennifer bites her on the throat before letting go again, and up next, Needy pulls out a box cutter, and cuts an X mark over her abdomen. With her demon power, Jennifer hovers them above the bed and the two scuffle some more. Until Needy rips the friendship necklace off Jennifer's neck, taking her off guard. Just long enough for Needy to stab her right in the heart, both literally and metaphorically. Right after Jennifer takes her last breath, her mom steps inside the room and catches Needy red-handed. And that is exactly how Needy ends up in prison. We then return to present day, where Needy is a prisoner, locked up in solitary confinement. As it turns out, because Jennifer bit her, she now has some demon powers. She uses it to levitate, and break her way out of prison. It's at this moment that she randomly comes across the knife that Nikolai, the lead singer, used to kill Jennifer, and picks it up. Needy then hitches a ride with a stranger to attend Low Shoulder's concert. After Low Shoulder's massive concert ends, we learn that the entire band gets murdered that night, signifying that it was Needy who did it. The film ends with Needy seen walking out of a hotel room through a security footage.